Two things before I actually get into the story. Shout out to Will Smith's right hand. Yes, that is their name on Twitter for tagging me to this story. And secondly, forgive the picture for looking the way that it is. It's just that that's how it is. You know, sometimes when they take a small image and they blow it up, it becomes very pixelated. But anyway, in this picture, you see the Delaware State University lacrosse team. And of course, in case y'all did not know, Delaware State is in HBCU. And I think that's very interesting that, you know, Delaware State has a lacrosse team, considering that historically lacrosse has been played by PC men and women, or boys and girls if they are on a high school team. But the Delaware State team, they went down to Georgia, you know, to compete in a match, when all of a sudden their bus got pulled over and some PC cops got on the bus and searched it for all types of drugs, basically thinking that they were transporting some kind of narcotics, maybe across state lines. Now, what gets me about this story is that I'm just now finding out about it on May 8th, 2022. The article for this was written on May 4th, 2022, my birthday, but the incident itself happened on April 20th, which was about 2.5 weeks prior to the actual incident itself. This is what I be talking about whenever there's stories like this that come out involving black people, even though in this picture is a very mixed picture. You have black players and you have PC players as well. But we know why. Del State, I mean, they saw the majority, so they already knew why they were targeting. And then on top of that, the bus driver was a black man. So that was all they needed to see right there. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of times when it comes to these stories involving black people being racially profiled, they always release these stories way after the fact. Like I said, I gave you an example with, you know, Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. Their incidents happened months prior to when we actually found out. They were not, it was not breaking news. And it sounds to me like this story is going to be swept under the rug as well. And when I saw someone had left a comment, I almost played like a superhero theme in my head that said, well, it looks like it's a job for the new black media to get on it, because one, we will talk about it if we know about it. And two, we will, when we do find out about it and talk about it, we're going to talk about it in a way that it should be spoken about. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into this article from the Hornet Online, which I believe is the Delaware State online newspaper. Breathe, but not too heavy. Look, but do not appear guilty. Speak, but never answer back. These are the constant reminders of being black in America. After playing 3 games in the hot southern heat, all the Delaware State's women lacrosse team wanted to do was make it back to Delaware with ease. However, things went left when they got pulled over by Georgia State Police. On April 20th at 10:31 a.m., Tim Jones, a black bus driver, was stopped by Georgia State Police. The officers claimed there was a traffic violation because buses are not permitted to drive in the left lane. The cops came onto the bus to inform the students that they would be checking their luggage for any possible narcotics such as marijuana, heroin, methane, and ketamine. It's funny, all the stuff that they said they're looking for, I'm sure if there was a PC lacrosse team, and I mean an all PC lacrosse team, they might actually find those with them. Georgia State Police accused the team of narcotics, video courtesy of Sanaya Kraft, freshman lacrosse player. One of the officers said, if there's anything in your luggage, we're probably going to find it. I'm not looking for a little marijuana, but I'm pretty sure you guys, chaperones, will probably be disappointed if we find it. He then stated, if there is something in there that is questionable, please tell me now, because guess what? We're not going to be able to help. Trying to get the ladies to admit to ownership of the imaginary drugs, the officers told them they would go to prison if they found something. So they came onto this bus with the preconceived notion that they would find something. Now, you want to know what's interesting? This happened on April 20th. Any of you know 420 is Bob Marley's birthday. And that's the day a lot of black people in particular, I'm talking about black people, I'm saying everyone does it, but I'm going to talk about black people right quick, love to celebrate his birthday by getting high. How ironic that they pull over this bus that's driven by a black man that has a lot of black faces on it, and that's what they're looking for. They started it off with weed and then segued into harder drugs. And I'm very certain that they didn't find any of the stuff that they claimed or were assuming that these girls had. The team told officers they did not have any narcotics, but they were still skeptical and explained they still had to check their luggage. The officer instructed Mr. Jones to open the bus trunk as they proceeded to go through the lady's personal belongings. Everyone was confused as to why they were looking through the luggage when there was no probable cause. The team members were in shock as they witnessed the officers rambling through their bags. They brought their canine dog out to sniff their luggage. The cops began tossing underwear and other feminine products in an attempt to locate narcotics. And I bet you after they tossed all their stuff out, I bet you they did not even take the time to put it back. Every time the students turned their heads, more officers appeared at the scene. The cops kept doubling as they went from 2 to 6 officers. They checked bags for 20 minutes, then explained it was necessary in case of child trafficking or drugs. The fact of the matter is that underlying racism the Delaware women's lacrosse team endured. The officers tried to get them to admit to having drugs while there was none in their possession. The officers conducted an unlawful search because there was no probable cause. Majority of the team members had never experienced or an encounter with the police, making this a traumatic incident for them. Tim Jones, Pamela Jenkins, Sanaya Kraft, and Emily Campanelli all shared their opinions on the situation. Tim Jones states, I felt that, of course, if we were in Georgia, there's some racial issues and some racial issues related. I really had a problem with them going through our stuff. There's a bus full of females. It was invasive of them to go through personal items. It was more than what they said about being in the left lane because they bought dogs. Pamela Jenkins, head women's lacrosse coach at DSU. When I saw the police come on the bus and then accuse us of having narcotics, I was reminded that living as a black woman in America, you are scrutinized when just trying to live. Unfortunately, this is our reality daily, and when they go low, we must go high. I don't like that quote. That's a real submissive quote. If they go low, you go lower and you clip their ass up. That's what you do. I'm proud of how our team stayed calm, and especially proud of Mika Lambert for asking the officer a thought-provoking question. It's been a stressful few days, but our team handled the tense situation with the utmost class and respect. Sanaya Kraft, relative of Elijah McClain. Oh, wow. That one hits close to home. She said relative of Elijah McClain. So she's familiar with this type of thing, but not with her personally. As a family member of Elijah McClain, I realized what happens when police take advantage of their privilege and compromise of their job. After seeing the police brutally murder my relative, I was petrified for what happened to my teammates and I. As women of color, I don't like that word either. Y'all know I don't like that of color thing. We are constantly facing adversity, and this was an incident we had to overcome together. Emily Campanelli, senior lacrosse player, states, I think the biggest surprise was seeing the dogs immediately pulled out regardless of what the citation was going to be. That shows the immediate effects of driving while black, especially through southern states, and it makes you wonder how many people this happens to on a daily basis and how many people experience this worse than us. I truly believe that it was an illegal search and seizure because there was no probable cause to search the bags. There was no evidence or smell. He immediately saw a group of athletic girls teams and should have let us continue, but because the majority of the team are black women, it was a different result. It is a sad day we had to encounter, but I'm glad everyone came outside. Despite the encounter the team members faced, they handled it with poise and remained strong. The Delaware women's lacrosse team truly embodies what it means to rise above racial disparity and keep composure in any given situation. So that's the whole article right there. That's some messed up shit. They knew them girls didn't have nothing on them. They knew no one on that bus had anything on them, but they just decided to do it anyway. And like I told you, I bet you after they tossed all their stuff out, I bet you they did not put it back. I know they didn't. And that's so embarrassing too, because they said they was tossing around their personal belongings and feminine products. Now we know what they mean when they say feminine products, and we're not just talking about lotion and perfume. I'm just saying. But yeah, I feel bad for these girls because that has to be extremely embarrassing, but it also has to be scary at the same time. And for many of them, this is probably their first bout with racism. Because you got to think these girls are ages 18 to 21, 22. So, you know, they were all born in the 2000s for the most part. Late, at least 99 at the latest, or at the earliest, I should say. But yeah, I'm glad that at the end of the day, I'm glad that they're okay. Like that's the good part about it. But the messed up part is that they had to go through all of that. Like I couldn't imagine being in their position and you are being profiled like that and then having your personal belongings just tossed out because of an assumption that you have drugs on you. Now, I bet you they wouldn't did it if this was a majority PC lacrosse team. And I know they wouldn't have done it. Like, imagine these girls travel from Delaware to Atlanta, excuse me, to Georgia, I should say, to compete in the sport that they love for 3 days or 3 events, only on the day that they're leaving to have this happen. Now, I need to ask people down in who live in Georgia, is that a law that buses cannot drive in the left lane? Can y'all let me know that, if that's true or not? And you know, if it is or if it isn't, because you know they'll take advantage of out of towners, because of course people from out of town are not going to look up and see what it is. Now, when you're traveling overseas, we highly suggest that you know their customs. But when it's here, it's like, okay, whatever. Like if they really wanted to see something, all they had, you know, first off, scratch that. It should not even have happened. They knew that these girls and the people on the other chaperones on this bus did not have what they were looking for. They racially profiled them because they were looking for something, and then tried to bait them into admitting something that they knew was not true. It's messed up either way. But hey, that's them pigs for you. That's who they are. That's the race soldier for you. And that's my take on it.